down the avenue right now towards the demonstrators. It's very difficult to tell from our vantage point whether there are demonstrators still out there at that distance or if they just backed off. We did hear what sounded like some sort of high-pitched tone or audible tone at a very high pitch of being blasted in that direction. We do know that these types of crowd control armored vehicles do have an array of tactics that they can employ, some of them being a very, or sometimes painful, audible, high-pitched tone that they'll blast, and that might have been that. We're hearing, again, the message on the loudspeakers being blasted towards the protesters. They must clear the streets. If they do not, they're risking arrest. And I don't see any more smoke canisters being fired in their direction. Again, we were told by police officials that they were not using tear gas. That the canisters that we saw flying through the air were just smoke. We're seeing a secondary line of police officers in riot gear being sprung out across West Florissant Avenue here in Ferguson right now, taking up a defensive position, it looks like, from one side of the street to the other, while their colleagues are much further ahead of them now, more than a football field length ahead of them. Here advancing.
Look at that motherfucker.
Community. And it's hard to say really what's going on beyond the lines here right now. We really can't see the demonstrators from this vantage point right now.
Yeah, we can't either. We can see the armored vehicle there moving in. And you had said earlier, did you not see that you believe that there were different police officers representing the different forces supporting this curfew? Did you say that?
Yeah, the police officers that we saw here tonight, in fact, we saw the first time police officers from St.louis Metropolitan Police Department in their light blue shirts were taking part here. We've seen police officers from multiple jurisdictions, State Highway Patrol, the county, other surrounding communities. They call this what they call it the mutual aid situation, which means that the local police department needs help from other police jurisdictions. And as we've been reporting throughout this,
continue use of the sound cannon used on the protesters, but at low decimals, off and on.
So that's the organization that's at the top here and organizing this, controlling what takes place. And throughout the week, we saw a variety of tactics being employed, a wide variety of tactics. At some days here, on some days, we didn't see any police officers out here at all, and the community was self-policing. But last night was definitely a turning point. 24 hours ago, we were watching looting taking place here, while a large number of demonstrators were involved in a standoff with this same line of riot police the night before. So I think a lot of people have said enough is enough. This has got to stop. This can't keep going on night after night into the late night hours. It sounds like off the distance we're hearing smoke canisters being fired again. Not seeing the smoke clouds, but definitely hearing what sounds like the same sound we heard when the smoke canisters were fired earlier.
And Steve, just to point this out, a slight discrepancy that I'm seeing on social media, that people are saying that it's tear gas, but according to our confirmed information from you on the ground, it is smoke that's being dispersed. Just to make sure that our viewers understand what they're seeing there, smoke canisters that are being thrown and smoke that clears the protesters there from the streets. Steve, can you talk to us just about the neighborhoods just down Florissant, the people who have homes, the people who have businesses near this street? What's it like for them, night after night after night, this unrest? You've got to imagine that they're just hoping for some peace, a peaceful night.
Well, for several nights in a row, many of the people who were out on the streets demonstrating were those same people who live on these side streets. This is their community, and they were very upset over this shooting and the way that the information was released subsequently. So they were out here night after night with their families. By the way, again, hearing more of those bursts that we heard earlier when the smoke canisters were fired. They were out here, and they were angry, and they wanted answers, and they wanted justice, they said. And they were out here last night as well, but tonight there weren't as many of them here. Almost none of those community members lived in this area where was mostly young people, high school-age teenagers, people in their young 20s. I saw very few of the faces that I had been seeing on the previous nights that we got to know some of these community members. They weren't out here in large numbers tonight. And after last night's looting, the previous looting that took place 24 hours ago or a little bit more, they were very upset. They were not happy to see what was happening to their community, and they were saying to us, enough is enough. This can't go on like this. People have to respect their community. You know, they definitely were still angry. They still wanted answers. They were still wanting to protest and demonstrate. They weren't happy with the way this investigation was being handled. But at the same time, they were not happy with the way, and very angry, quite frankly, with the way a small number of agitators were disrespecting their community and looting the businesses here. So, I don't know if the fact that they didn't show up here tonight, local residents didn't show up here tonight, was because of the rain or because they felt that they had had enough, but there were not a large number of local area residents out here at a late hour tonight because we had gotten to know the faces of people here who live here, and I just didn't see them here tonight.
I'm glad you pointed that out because that means, from your vantage point, that many of the local people did as they were asked to do, stay home. And who knows where these young people that you say you talked with earlier came from different regions or different areas of the city to just make a stand, or if they're from that neighborhood. But either way, there are up to 200 people that were defying this curfew in the past hour. We're over an hour now, and it looks, Steve, that some of the police officers, when we see the camera just panning around or standing firm and looking down the street, others seem to be milling about and about, kind of nonchalant, not looking as though they're seeing any possible danger. What are you seeing? We know you're farther away. What would you say about that as far as attention or not attention?
We're in the lull right now. Honestly, I haven't heard the announcements coming over the bullhorn lately in the last couple of minutes. And from this distance, it would be difficult for us to hear the protesters as well, so I can't say with any certainty how many still remain. But they have the police line. They have pushed their line much further down West Florissant Avenue